Good morning, everybody. It is Bev. This is the host of Bev D Show. It's July 10th, and we're looking at about 7:16 Eastern Standard Time here in the wonderful United States, Ohio. All is good. Back at home, was on vacation, and I can't believe how much I miss doing this show. There is a way that I'm supposed to be able to do it on the road. Still don't know, but at the same time, I don't know that I would have wanted to because I really did kind of just shut down, and I went on vacation with my daughters who are all in their 20s, so it was like a really nice girls trip and beautiful weather. We went to Virginia Beach, right smack dab, right over July 4th. And it was absolutely perfect. It rained our last day, which is, okay. Probably gave our skin a little break of our little patches of sunburn and stuff. But we really did have a good time. And driving home, it was just, oh my gosh. Every time I tell somebody about it, I'm getting a little choked up. It was beautiful. And you go through those, the Virginia, the mountains of West Virginia, you come right smack dab into Ohio, and just traveling, and just really felt a little bit like flying. I mean, those roads that take you through those mountains, I always think about how in the world was that ever done, and just how beautiful it oh God, the clouds were just perfect with the sun, and we were really blessed. And so back in the saddle, getting back to work, everything. Today, and because of that, Todd is just so sweet. My nephew, Todd, we always do Tuesdays with Todd. And for new listeners, this is my nephew. We have kind of rekindled and got back in touch with each other via Facebook, and the next thing you know, I had a podcast, and then we both had this idea, and I said, would you be so kind as to come on? And so Todd is our guest today, and thank you for your patience, because technical difficulties as well as anybody else, and we had them today. So good morning, Todd.
Well, good morning.
Thank you so much for being here a day and 15 minutes late. I couldn't help it. We got a lot to talk about. Todd is, he's with an organization and come alongside of them, and it's called Hope United. We are in the arena of, people that are substance abusers and addicts, and I get abuse, really. But people that have different types of addictions and such. And Todd, I'll tell you, even before they wrote an article about him, guys, and even before I read that, you and I have talked about a lot of things that are in that. And just want to, kind of tell you, first of all, thank you for your open and honest ways. And let's chat about that a little bit. How did that all come about?
I was with Travis and Shelley one day for lunch, and we were just basic conversations, and her sister, Laura, their whole family's just amazing. I mean, just amazing people. They're all behind this. And she's been doing a blog on their website alone, and on hopeunited.com. It says nowwefightforyou.com. And they have been doing different stories about different people, and obviously their first story was about Travis and Shelley's son, Tyler, who had passed away as a direct result of this disease. And she had asked, she's like, do you mind if I do a blog on you? I said, absolutely. I would love to, So I went and met with her and Laura. We went up and sat down and had some lunch, and I just told it from the beginning, because I was like, you just want like a little rough cut, like a shortcut up until the recovery. She's like, no, I want to know how you felt as a kid. I mean, like everything. So I did. And And she calls me and she says, I can't, like, cut none of this out. This is amazing. Like, it's just, it's just me. She's like, well, do you care if I use it all? I'm like, I wouldn't have told you if I didn't care. And she's like, well, I'm going to have to make this a 3-part series. And then this is like a month ago.
Okay.
And she's like, she sent me a rough draft. And she said, how's this? And I was just like overwhelmed. I was like almost, in tears reading this thing. I was like,
of course.
The beginning part alone, where it puts a definition of a hero, and I'm like, wait a minute. And so they ran the first thing Monday, and oh my goodness, has it gotten a lot of attention, a lot.
Well, we talked.
And that's just on social media.
Yeah. And we talked very briefly about this because, we're running behind, and I wanted to be able to just dive in and talk to you about it as well. But, I think you said it best that when we were talking, you said, you're not any different. There's nothing special about, but, you're just a human being, and this happens to be your story. And I think that the key is that when people come out of this, I know that, Todd, every day you shared with me that it is a struggle. Not a struggle, but it's there. It's like you
it's there. It's
there.
Always there.
It's always there. And that, but what makes it, the reason why I'm going to try and get through this show, like you said, you read it and you couldn't believe it, but I'm going to try and get through without tears. This is a game we're going to play. How Bev is not going to cry, because it's really hard. Because when I read it, Todd, I knew how real and raw and true it was. And the thing is that I know that you're very humble and you are very private, but not, because you had to break out of your shell, and sponsors and such saying people might want to hear what you have to say, and you've taken your story on the road, and you've talked to and helped others. The difference between you are different in that you are sharing this story that we know is private. But now it is not. And what happens is what you're hearing from is people who can relate, people who you are giving people. It's just like the organization you're working with. You're giving people hope and showing them that you care. And by being so open and sharing those things, if I told you about my issues that I had, but mine weren't with substance. But it makes it where it's like, this is a guy I can talk to. This is a guy I can relate to. Okay, if he did this, maybe I can listen and read and pay attention to. Maybe there's a possibility for me to stop using, for me to stop drinking, for me to stop, abusing and that sort of thing. So, truly, thank you so much.
You are so very welcome. And like I said, it's fascinating, and it's, I've never been happier in my whole life, and I just turned 47 years old. I still act the same way. I'm still ornery. I still haven't fully grown up yet. Okay, Sunday, for instance. If you skip through Facebook, or Monday, Sunday night we were sitting there, and me, Sarah, and Frankie, and we says, "Are you off tomorrow?" Yeah. Well, obviously, I said, yeah, and we jumped in the car and went to Seneca Lake Sunday night, down to her cabin, and cooked out, did a little adventure in the golf cart, and the whole next day, all we did was boat. It was as peaceful and serene as could be, And we went and docked a boat and sat on this random shore and hung out and talked all day. And, packed food. It was just the most random, and I've just, these experiences I've got to have, living life. I don't ever want to live coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Just like you just jumped in the whole thing and put in that vacation and boom, you guys were gone, had a great time.
Yeah.
No.
I thought about you a lot while on vacation, and it was along those lines. And when you go into Virginia Beach, the big deal is it's almost like a Cedar Point ride. The big deal is you're going to go through the tunnel, and ever since ever since the kids were little, and myself, the first time I went there, I couldn't believe I was going in this tunnel underwater, and how fascinating that is. And historically, I always think about every single time I go through there. Now, how in the hell did they do this? These are masterminds that come up, we'll just put a bridge underneath the water and well, that, and it really got to me because our travel day was July 3rd. And so, we're going smack dab right into July 4th, which is a huge holiday, obviously. And we expected traffic, but what happened was, and thankfully to the wonderful technology of a GPS, Gina was, looking at her phone, and there was it was red. It was black. The color was black, showing the traffic. It was so bad. So we found out via radio that there was a multi car accident. Now, oh yeah. And in my head, I'm thinking every one of them were on their way to Virginia Beach for the holiday. Right. It would be rare that somebody just actually lived there and was going home from work. But it was rush hour. So I just, in my head, we kind of sat there, and then because of technology, Gina found a completely different route for us to take, which took us way out of our way. And I told her, I said, I don't mind going completely out of I'm getting goosebumps telling you this. I don't mind going completely out of my way as long as I'm moving. I get a little, frantic when I'm stuck in traffic, and I cannot even begin to tell you how probably filled with anxiety I would have been if we would have been in the tunnel and stopped. Oh my God. And when you go through the tunnel, you can smell the fumes and everything anyways moving. So sitting there, I was very thankful that we weren't in that situation, because I know I would have had probably, if I have the ability to, I would have had an anxiety attack. So what she did is she took us all the way out and all the way around, and she just kept directing me, telling me what to do, the different directions. And what it did is it took us on this route, and it was lined by trees, and there wasn't anything else. And it wasn't like mountains or anything. We were just on this flat land traveling through these trees. And I said, this is beautiful. So instead of being all hyped up on the highway and all frantic, and believe me, to get out of that mess, people were zigzagging like it was their job. Like, this is how we drive. And I just wanted out of it. Yeah, it was crazy. So, but I thought of you. And the reason why is because you were talking about how we plan things and we think that things are going to happen and stuff. And I thought this route was calm. There was no one else knew about it because it probably took them so far from the beach. But it really only set us back like around 25 minutes. But it was beautiful, Todd. And it was just what you said. You plan and you think this is going to happen and you have these expectations, and just like that, there we were. And we were blasting the music, singing. It was one of the best parts of the trip, was going out of our way on a different route.
Maybe that was your way to see the extra beauty that you had never done before because you were so focused on going from A to B.
Yep.